Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Living Astrology with Janet. It's time to grab your cup of coffee or your tea, sit back, and let's chat about what is happening in the sky above us today. The day after the Super Bowl, where the Philadelphia Eagles really cleaned up over the Kansas City Chiefs. I really didn't have too much skin in this game, but because I happen to love Eagles and the Eagles, I went for the Eagles, the team, and surprisingly was quite gratified to see their win. It was an interesting day. Typically, our family gets together, and usually we have some, kind of competitive thing going on. But we really didn't have that kind of competition because neither team, or our teams here on the West Coast, and that we're not that familiar with them, but it was fun nonetheless. Lots of good food. It was also my grandson's 8th birthday, so we had his party and ate lots of really good foods. So I hope all of you guys had a great weekend too, enjoying the time with family or friends. Today, the energy is shifted markedly. I could feel it from the moment I got up when I didn't want to get up. I wanted to stay in bed and I wanted to stay sleeping. And it has an edge to it. And as I started looking ahead at the week's transits, I could see why, right? With planets in a square to Uranus. Today it is Mercury in a square to Uranus. Tomorrow it is the sun in a square to Uranus. And on Wednesday's full moon, the moon is square Uranus. So we have, at least 3 days of this real scritchy, I call it scritchy, right? This irritable, kind of prickly energy that's out in the world. And I was thinking this morning, why is this impacting me? Because I'm usually pretty Johnny go lucky, Janet go lucky, just kind of going on with whatever. But yeah, this Neptune happens to be in a square to my sun at the moment. So I'm feeling the effects of the emotions. I'm feeling the effects of the kind of almost this overwhelm feeling, and as well the feeling of tired and dragging, right? Just feeling like, I need to sleep some more, even though I know I got plenty of sleep last night. So if you guys are feeling weird this morning, there is a reason for that. And at least if there's nothing that you can particularly do about it at the moment, just be with the feeling because it will shift many different times during this particular week. And as we get beyond the full moon, things calm down a titch for the week, and that might be the nice respite to this craziness this morning, or at least the craziness. And there's this dreamy quality to everything right now too. Like things don't feel the same. They don't look the same. They don't behave in the same way. It's just a very interesting time, I think, that we find ourselves in. And as I look at the chart today, I see the moon is at 28 degrees of Cancer, and that is a degree that is getting tells you it's getting ready to shift into the sign of Leo, where the full moon will occur on Wednesday. So today, what we'll do is talk about, first of all, Neptune making a gate change as well today, and at that key theme of Neptune always being about spirituality, but also the dream and the illusion, and the ideas of the idealism, but the disillusionment that we can get, the glimmer and the glamour that Neptunian energy can bring to things where we don't see clearly, we don't hear clearly, we don't sense clearly. And today, Neptune has moved into the gate 25 in your human design, which we're going to be talking about. And then, as well, what is it about this transit that's happening in tandem with Mercury squaring Uranus that can create some maybe issues that we're feeling today? And there that feeling of unsettledness, I guess, is what I'm reacting to, and the restlessness that can come up with this kind of energy. And then besides the Mercury squaring Uranus, then we go into the next day's Sun square Uranus, which is also restless energy. It is also irritable kind of energy. It's wild card energy. That's what I would call that one. And then we'll talk about the full moon on Wednesday, since I won't see you until Friday. And luckily, the rest of the week is a little bit quieter, with the exception of Friday on Valentine's Day, Mercury moving into the sign of Pisces, which I think helps smooth things a bit, because Mercury in Aquarius makes for a very activated mind. And those interference waves of Aquarian energy that people always think of as it's water, it's not water, it's interference waves. And those interference waves, of course, being very powered right now with the Sun Mercury series and Pluto all in that sign. So disruption, that's a key word that we could use for that. So let's say good morning to people popping in early this morning. I saw Diana. Good morning to you. And I bet your city was a busy one last night with the Super Bowl taking place there. And Julie, good morning to you. And Kamal, good to see you with us. Joan Durchie, good morning. Amy D, hello. And Leilani, good to see you. Pam Z, hello to you. Tom, good morning. Asa, good morning. Leilani says, get those likes up. Thank you very much for that reminder, because I always forget. CTA, right? Call to action. Hit the thumbs up button or hit the like button if you're on Facebook. Either way, thank you very much for doing so. And Asa, good to have you with us this morning, though. Amy D says, I'm totally feeling all those things, Janet, have been for a few days. Thank you. Because this morning, that prickly feeling to me was like, oh, I'm not even going on air. If I can't be nice, I'm not going on air. But I can be nice. I can be nice, and I'm obviously on air. Good morning, Marianne and Christine and Terry. Good to have you out there with us. Debbie Tibbetts Tumiel, good morning to you. And Teddy, good morning to you and Patty as well. So we have the gang here this morning, this moon day. I always think of Monday as Moon Day. Of course, that's what it's named for, the moon. And as such, it gives us an opportunity to take a look ahead at some of the cycles of time and cycles of planets that will be impacting us this particular week. And if you if you look at the chart for the day, this is the chart for the day. It is kind of a mess, isn't it? You can see, because these lines represent all the different aspects between the planets. And when you see busyness like that, it tells you that there's a lot going on. If I bring that in, you can see the key areas are Aquarius, Pisces, and Aries, with the smattering of other planets and points around the chart. I also just noticed that the moon earlier this morning would have gone across Mars. That could trigger frustration and some anger, irritability, and things like that as well. And especially in the sign of Cancer, that's already emotional. So there we have maybe what the setup to the day has been. Now, will it continue that way? Well, let's break this down. Neptune moving into to the gate 25. Let me show you. I'm going to share my screen while we do this part of the morning, because it's sometimes really good to focus on a chart so you can see, where these things are happening. So here on the center of the chart, you see the identity center, also called the G center. And the gate 25 is one of the gates of love that sit on the identity center. And it is called the gate of spirit. And it moves down toward the heart center, ego center, will center, whichever center name you know it by. And it is on this center is sometimes called the center of the seat of the soul. It is also the center for love and direction. So, indeed, we see that Neptune sitting here at the gate 25 is on the gate of the love of spirit. And, this is a profound gate in human design. You can make the case that all of the gates in your human design are profound, but this is a gate of universal love and divine trust and spiritual innocence. And it's about surrendering to the higher flow, embracing love without conditions, and recognizing that even in the midst of chaos, which we live in at this moment, there is a deeper order at work, even if it's not an order that you see easily. It is still there. And there are key themes in this gate that we're going to see across the next several months as this planet moves slowly, but sits at this gate for I believe, the rest of this year and into 2026. And one of the themes will be about dissolving illusions around love and faith. Now, Neptune has a way of dissolving whatever isn't true, whatever it touches, excuse me, goes through this process of discovery, whether it is true or false. And or is it illusion, a sort of, shimmer, glimmer, or is there some meat to it? Is there some truth to it? And this means that for us, illusions around love and trust and the nature of spirit in and of itself are what we are going to be working with over these next several months. It may feel like a gentle or not so gentle push to let go of control. And I think that is one of those things I keep feeling like in my own self, that if I could just relax, right, and just let everything that's happening chaotically out there around me just be what it is, right? Just be what it is without me trying to be reactive to it. There is a sense of returning to innocence and purity. And this is such an interesting thing here at this gate because you all have the gate 25, by the way, right? You're not incomplete because it's not colored in, because now it is colored in. See right here, right? This is what it would look like if you did not have it normally. And if you have that gate, now you've added, an extra dose of energy here at it. And every one of us has this opportunity to connect to pure love in this time, to the unconditional sort of love. It's very much higher love, and the kind that doesn't have expectations or demands, but it just simply is, right? It just is. And it's about stripping away the ego and this getting into a deeper state of embodied love, right? Very much more about the embodied love. There is a sense of spiritual awakening and mysticism here as well. Sometimes this gate is called the gate of the priestess or the shaman because it connects to that type of energy. And it's already, Neptune has already this mystical influence over us. And at gate 25, it calls us to really open our hearts to the unknown, to trust the unfolding of life, and to recognize the interconnectedness of all things, right? Living and non living, right? How it's all interconnected. And then it also has a healing through surrender kind of vibe as the priest or priestess energy. It carries this energy of deep spiritual healing. But also, healing here doesn't come from effort. It's not like you're setting out to heal, it comes from allowing. And it comes from trusting in a higher power and surrendering to the energy of love. Like all things can be healed through love. And there is a shadow here. There's a shadow and a gift, right? In this particular gate. The shadow here is about constriction. And, that would be, tightening up and wounding, right? Being wounded, i.e., something triggers you or a core wound gets triggered and you constrict, right? You come into smallness. And if we resist love or we feel disconnected from spirit, this transit can bring up wounds around faith, around betrayal, or feeling abandoned by the divine. And this may show up as a deep emotional wound and deep emotional, almost existential sort of questioning about life, about why do I want to be here in this chaos and all of this. And it's interesting because I've noticed through people that I know that people are dealing with their friends or their loved ones or even, people that they don't know well who are wanting to commit suicide, who want off this planet in a bad way, and having those levels of conversations with people about, or even just being there as a voice for the unconditional love. There is a gift here, and the gift is trust and surrender. Um, it's about learning to relax into the unknown. So difficult, right? Because we always want to know. It's a gentle reminder that love is not something to chase or to try to control or to grab onto and, constrict with it. It's really something to become. To become. You're becoming love or becoming more loving. And how is this going to feel for us? And remember, this is a long-term transit. If I remember correctly, and I'm going to check just to be sure. I'm pretty sure it sits at this gate for a very long time. September, November, all of December. So for the rest of this year, right? This is a long-term Neptune gate and giving us all lots of opportunities to practice um, and surrender and trust and unconditional love. But it can feel emotionally raw and sensitive, especially when planets are moving through the solar plexus at the same time, which right now the North Node is at the gate 36, crisis and chaos. And also that means this week, I think it is the Earth is at the, what was something else was at gate 6, another gate on the solar plexus. The sun is at the gate 49, the gate of revolution. So we have a lot of emotional energy that's out there, and this can just make things feel more sensitive. And, it kind of brings up the deep, older wounds that you have around love and faith and trust and all of that stuff coming to the surface for healing, right? Not to hurt you, but just for healing. And we may feel a pull toward more spiritual practices with more mysticism or connecting with something greater than ourselves. There may be a desire for simplicity, right? Just like I feel this, like just let it all go kind of feel, stripping away anything that feels artificial or forced or not true or authentic to you. And then maybe unexpected moments of grace where synchronicities happen or deep heart opening energies and reminders that you are supported, that we are all, being supported. And as I said, Neptune here moves very slowly. So this isn't just a momentary shift. This is an influence that's setting the tone for the next couple of years. It is sort of a profound initiation into the path of love and surrender. And if there's anywhere in life where you have been trying too hard to figure things out, Neptune in gate 25 is saying, stop trying, just trust. Trust in the higher order of spirit. So, best practices for this long transit of Neptune at this gate is really being heart centered or finding heart centered practices like meditation or breath work or gentle movements like Qigong or Tai Chi or yoga, things that help your body move in a gentle way. Let go of expectations. Neptune works in mysterious ways. It is hardly predictable, right? Things just never seem to unfold as planned when you are dealing with Neptune, but they will unfold as needed to get us where we need to go as a collective. Pay attention to your dreams, to signs, to your intuition. Neptune's language isn't like Mercury's, where we have words that connect to thoughts and to feelings and emotions, facts and figures. No, Neptune's language is symbolic. And that means sometimes we have to intuit what it is that's being said. If it's in a dream, looking for the symbols that have meaning. Practice self compassion. That's another important thing right now, as we may feel more sensitive or more emotionally raw, and be gentle with yourself, but also remember to be gentle with others, right? No need to jump down other people's throats or to, engage in conflict. It just isn't going to work out in the way that you would feel. Now, Neptune at gate 25 today is also meeting up with Mercury square Uranus. Now, we're going to kind of weave these two things together. Now, anytime we have a square, we have tension and or an obstacle or a challenge that's coming up. And I'm going to stop sharing the screen here for a minute. Stop sharing. There we go. So, when we have Mercury, the lower mind or the thinking mind, the data mind, in a square to Uranus, the higher mind, right? The mind that sees beyond, that is attached to big ideas and to change. The transition here from this deep-seated, heart-centered Neptune place can make it feel a little jagged or erratic, right? The mind is being upset over on this side, but there's this love energy, this unconditional energy on the other side. And it's almost like the mind is wanting to resist what the heart already knows, right? If the heart already knows the path, then the mind is like, no, it can't be that easy. No, we got to make it harder. So if you're feeling unsettled, as I am today, breathe, ground, do grounding exercises. Remember that the heart is always wiser than the mind because the mind is limited, right? The mind is limited to facts and figures and data and always questioning what's true, what's not true, and spitting out information. But it is an awareness tool. It isn't one that can actually ground in anything of truth, right? It's just kind of the lightning rod for all of the info. So, Mercury in Aquarius and a sign already of disruption. You see those waves in the symbol of Aquarius. It's all about interference, right? Interference that creates change, disruption that leads to change, right? And the aspect of Mercury squaring Uranus in from Aquarius to Taurus can bring mental tension where your mind is overly stressed. Sudden insights, though, are also a part of this, that aha moment, the epiphany, but also unexpected disruptions in communications, in your technology, and perception. Like this morning, I couldn't title my Word document. I'm like, why? I mean, I couldn't save it. I could title it, but I couldn't save it. It kept telling me that what is it called? One document, one something wasn't available, and I'm like, how can it not be available? I'm writing in it right now. So things like that, right? And there is this sense of sort of this cosmic lightning strike that can happen, flashes of brilliance, but also instability and restlessness coming from the etheric energy. Now, the key themes of Mercury squaring Uranus are things like sudden mental shifts and breakthroughs. I mean, that sounds good, right? Uranus, which rules that higher mind, and innovation and change, right? And the unexpected. And he's in Taurus. And Taurus is a sign of stability and values and security and finances and earth, right? It's very earth energy, but it challenges, right? Uranus in the sign of Taurus is going to challenge Mercury thoughts and communication in Aquarius, the unconventional energy. But there's a synergy here because Uranus is the more modern ruler of Aquarian energy. So it is a feeling sort of like Uranus is doing the upset to Mercury's lower mind, but in a way that's really meant to bring us unexpected insights, perhaps, or epiphanies, or just shake up our thinking patterns because we can get caught in those old patterns. There can also be technology and communication breakdowns or disruptions. It's the name of the game when you have Uranus and Mercury coming together. They both rule technology. And there can be the glitches, right? The things that you don't expect to have happen. Maybe developments in social media, AI, any of the tech stuff that's going on in our world. Unexpected news can surface today or over the next few days, and conversations can take on the unpredictable nature of Uranus. And it is also rebellious, restless energy. So if you're feeling that way, and boy, am I, um, Mercury just wants you to be able to think freely, to innovate, to think outside of the box and challenge the norms, challenge the old, while Uranus and Taurus disrupts the comfort zone, right? This has been a 6.5 year process so far of Taurus, Uranus and Taurus disrupting, right, the stability and the comfort zones that we found ourselves in. We tend, as humans, we get into these little, spaces. They feel okay. So, why do I need to do anything about anything? And yet there's this push and pull right now between radical ideas and practical realities. We see it happening every day in the news cycle, and that can lead us then to mental overload, mental anxiety. And because Uranus also and Mercury, in some ways, both rule the nervous system within your human body, we may feel wired or overstimulated or overwhelmed. Two words I used this morning were overwhelmed and prickly, which kind of gives us that Uranus sort of electrical nature of his energy. Thoughts can race, sleep could be disrupted, and it may feel like there's just too much information all at one time, like too much is coming down on you at one time, too many demands, pulling at you. So breathe, right? One of the things that we can do. Now, there's also global shifts and different values that are coming up in the outer world, right? Those are also playing in to the things that, we deal with as personally as well. There could be sudden collective shifts, and especially in the way that we approach finances or in the way that we approach resources in general, right? How do we approach the earth, her minerals, the oil, the water, and the societal structures, right? How do we arrange ourselves as a society? New tech breakthroughs, political shakeups, radical changes in values, all these things are possible, not only because of the bigger energies of, like, say, Pluto in Aquarius, but Mercury squaring Uranus from Aquarius to Taurus, right? So just be prepared. Restlessness and impatience. So, as the mind is jumping from one idea to another, or from one thing, oh, I got to do this, to, oh, I got to do that, it makes it hard to focus. So, taking time to slow down, to breathe, to ground is a good deal for this type of energy, right? So, allowing yourself to go through that. There is a strong need for freedom, and for especially freedom in expression, being able to say what you want to say. Unexpected communication or miscommunication is possible. Remember, yesterday, Mercury and the sun came into a conjunction in Aquarius, right? So there are new ideas that have been deposited, as it were, from Mercury onto the sun. And at that point in time, as new thinking begins to take hold or new ideas begin to emerge, it can, create a difficulty in trying to express those things. And how does it fit in the grander scheme of things in your own life or in the bigger, wider world? So miscommunication, definitely a possibility. There could be sudden changes in our schedules or disruptions to travel or internet or devices, things like that. And these are things that push us to just go with the flow or flow with the go. But there's also this breakthrough energy that is available to everybody. And is it creative? Well, it is creative, let me just say. But is it a breakthrough in your creativity or in your intellectual work that you do, writing or speaking, things, putting up websites, things like that, where these breakthrough energies can happen? It's almost like genius can arise through the square. Who knew? Right? But grounding them into reality might be the difficult part, right? That's the part that takes our effort, that we have to work through. And just know that increased nervous energy at this moment, it's there. Um, we may feel mentally wired, but physically drained. Ooh, that's such a great description of how I feel today. Mentally wired and physically drained. If you're feeling that, it's all in the air, so to speak. Um, Now, Mercury and Uranus in their square and Neptune at the gate 25. We have this deeper invitation to trust in the divine, to trust and surrender to our higher selves, to the higher knowing. But Mercury square Uranus is very mental. So we might have a struggle between the mental and spiritual parts of ourselves. And yet it could be the spark to a lot of um, new ideas, new ways of thinking, innovation, etc. But an inner dissonance could also be a part of this, as we are wanting to align with our hearts, but our minds keep shifting us out of that area. Your intuition is calling you to let go of the mind, let go of all the thinking. Um, just let trust and surrender lead the way. So ground your energy. You may find that you have to write things down this week, because it could be a week where your memory is um, weak. I hate to use that word, but it's like up and down, right? So write things down, because two things. One, insights can be coming fast and furious. And if you don't write them down, you'll forget them. And it's a sure bet that if you take any time away from writing them down, that Neptune over here in the gate of spirit is going to have let them drift off into la la land. So write things down, slow down in your communication, be flexible, right? Be willing to just move and go with the flow. Um, and stay practical, right? Uranus is in Taurus, a sign that does offer up the earthy groundedness of practicality, stability, security, that kind of thing. Taurus reminds us in this case that lasting change requires patience, right? Not that they're the best at patience, but it does require patience, right? So, this transit today and tomorrow, even, and Wednesday, may feel like mental fireworks are going off, right? But it could be exciting, it could be illuminating, it could be disruptive. So expect unexpected, right? Expect the unexpected. Expect maybe personal epiphanies, things that just breakthrough energy comes, radical conversations with people. And just know that if you're feeling more mentally agitated, go do something else. Get your mind off of what it is that you've been doing. Engage the physical body, perhaps. Maybe engage the physical and the spiritual body, right? Through doing spiritual things like yoga or qigong or tai chi, other movement type exercises. But also know that emotional and physical restlessness is distinctly a possibility. And then the next day, and then there was the sun in the square to Uranus. And as I said earlier in the broadcast this morning, this is sort of wild card energy, where it is restless, it is unpredictable, it is full of shakeups. And the sun represents our identity, our purpose, our vitality, and it's what's being shook up, right? The sun is being shook up here. And Uranus is the planet of change that comes fast and furious, disruption, rebellion, revolution. So when the two square off, it can be a strong urge within us to break free, right? To let go of limitations, um, to defy expectations for yourself, but others also, and embrace something radically different. Be different, right? Daring to be different. So looking at the sun in the square now to Uranus, this whole idea of rebellion and restlessness is very powerful. We're already seeing it with Mercury square Uranus, and now we have the sun squaring Uranus. And if you're feeling boxed in, it can really be that you get triggered with with this very strong need or urge to break out of that, to move toward independence, to move towards freedom. And if you're feeling that urge to break out of those old patterns, or to break out of routines, to push against authority, or to challenge outdated structures in your life, it's likely coming up because this is where you've been feeling boxed in, where you've been feeling the cap on top of you pushing down. So, sudden disruptions sometimes can create a pathway for change that wasn't available before. And unexpected events or surprises can even change this direction or this course of your life, right? Take moving you maybe through getting onto the right path. And Uranus is known for throwing curveballs. And with the sun involved, this can really affect your sense of self, your goals, and your external circumstances. And again, you're not a victim of this. This isn't you being, berated by this particular transit. This is asking you to innovate, to step up, to be different. And radical insights, perhaps, are a part of this, and innovations. And while this is frustrating energy, it can lead to major breakthroughs. So, yes, if you're frustrated, often in human design, we talk to generators and we say that that frustration that you're feeling on the plateau in particular, because generators tend to grow and then come to a plateau. And it's frustration that can be the key that tells you that change is about to occur, that long stretch is about to break, right? And you're going to move back up. And it's an awakening moment sort of thing that we might be experiencing this week, where we may see things in a completely new way. And that is what we need to be prepared for, right? To see things differently. Now, that also means that we could have tension between the stability that we crave as human beings and the idea of change, right? That change, Taurus and Uranus and Taurus wants to hold on to the comfort zone. We talked about that already. But the Aquarius sun wants to break free, as did the Mercury in Aquarius, right? That they're wanting to break the mold, to jump out in a new way. And the clash between, that old paradigm, that new paradigm, creates an internal and external pressure for us to evolve. And whether you feel ready for it or not. Most of the time, we don't feel ready. If we felt ready, then it's already been too late, right? It's been too long. So it is time for change. It's time to evolve, all of that. But you also have to watch out for this one, because anytime we have, stacked Uranus transits, which we do this week, right? Because we've talked already about Mercury in the square, the sun in the square is what we're working on now. But with the full moon on Wednesday, the moon will also be square Uranus. And that means that this erratic energy is really big, and it is in our faces. And what it can breed in the outer world sometimes is impulsivity and accidents. Luckily, this isn't Mars in the square. Luckily, right? We don't have that. But there's tension and unpredictable reactions by others, right, in the world. Like, you're hearing me talk about all of this, so you're maybe a little more prepared, but your next door neighbor who doesn't know a thing about astrology, can, get himself or herself involved in something that impacts you. So be mindful for yourself, and maybe even in your guidance or helping others, to be mindful of making rash decisions. This is really not the time for that. It's definitely time for change, but rash implies that you haven't really had time to respond. It's more reactive. And watch out for emotional outbursts and the unexpected disruptions that can come in travel, finances, technology, just all of those things that we, right now, as our infrastructure, everything that's cracking around us, not working the way it used to. And the more that we get prepared, the better it is for us to move through this energy as with as much peace as possible, right? That Neptune connection to our higher selves, to our spirit. Now, feeling frustrated by restrictions, we might act out. So watch out for that. Sudden changes in plans and schedules and relationships are possible. Breakthroughs in thinking are possible. Feeling wired, anxious, ungrounded, all a part of the Uranus experience. It's got that electric energy. In fact, I believe it's the planet that we think of as ruling electricity, right? The lightning bolt energy. And, it can also bring up a desire for us to create change in our own lives or to take risks. And there's nothing wrong in taking risks as long as they're not rash and impulsive, that they're more thought out or more in response to something as opposed to reactive or knee jerked. So, we have this potential for all of this breakthrough energy, but at the same time, there's this level of unpredictability. And because it's both the sun, which we consider more of a personal planet. It's not really a planet, but it's more personal. And the planet Uranus that we think of as more transpersonal or a collective, that we might have unpredictability in weather patterns, in the cyber world, disruptions to our internets or to our technology. Our power grid may react to some of this. And it can also be that we see more impact from things that are going on the surface of the sun, maybe more sunspot activity, things like that. So the best way for us to navigate are the same pretty much as the Mercury square Uranus. It's about expect the unexpected and stay flexible, right? Be ready and open to change. Pause before making impulsive decisions, right? Don't be too rash. Release what's no longer aligned with you, what no longer fits. Ground your energy in and embrace spontaneity, right? That is the key. So this transit is a part of this cosmic shakeup that we are a part of right now. And it's designed to pushing you into greater authenticity. And it can feel destabilizing. And it can feel like you're creating space, maybe almost like you're at the precipice of a deep hole and that you're about to fall into. But allowing yourself to move forward brings freedom, right? Can bring innovation into your life, can bring those breakthroughs. So the key is to stay adaptable, right? Resistance is only going to make the whole ride bumpier. I was going to say resistance is futile, but I don't want you to think it's like out of the realm of possibility that you're also holding the pattern that needs to take place. It's not being brought to you, it's you bringing it to the world. And if this energy is feeling personal for you, as in you're having an external storm in this world or an internal storm, that transit, this conglomeration of these transits may be what is actually happening. All right, let me take a look at comments here, questions. Barbara, good morning to you. Buenos dias. Terry, I hear you. I hear you. Okay, thank you. Lo, I have 25.6 at 3 degrees Aries in my design. I see. How will it affect that part of my chart? Well, what's being disrupted for you looks like it would be something to do with home and family or the traditions that you hold yourself to. And it is in the fifth, it affect that part of my chart in the fifth. That might be creative energies, right? That real striking aha moment that brings you into some form of creative genius, which, by the way, we all have creative genius. Maybe that's where it sparks for you, Lo. I don't know why I thought, well, you said IC. So the IC typically is in the fourth house, but can also wobble some and, be in your fifth house. Terry Lee Strauss, good morning to you. She says, oh, great. She's an Aquarian. I'm sure you're feeling this disruptive energy, aren't you, Terry? And good morning, Scorpio 1180. And Lo, oh, shoot, that has been happening to me. Luckily, I have a few different groups I'm in that allow me to dip my toes and speak the downloads. Nice. And let's see. Good morning, Paulette, and good morning, Sharon K. It's great to have you with us this morning. All right, let's go on to the full moon, shall we? This is a Leo full moon, typically one of the fabulous moons of the year, right? Where Leo energy, the self expressive, heart centered leader energy, gets to be shown in its beauty. That particular day, it is the moon that is actually going to be the driver of the disruption as it comes into the square with Uranus. And then Jupiter that same day shifts gates as well. And it shifts from the gate, it shifts into a gate called experience. So there's a lot of experiential energy that will be part of the experience this particular full moon. So the full moon is anything but quiet. It's called the snow moon. The snow moon, that evokes quiet, right, to me. It evokes that, sound of quiet when there is snow on the ground and, just the beautiful quiet, right? Peace. But with Uranus in Taurus and this moon in Leo, we have this square going on, and it could mean that our emotions feel a little volatile, surprising, shocking, maybe even a little revolutionary. And on top of that, Jupiter's shift into the gate 35, which is called the gate of experience, amplifies the desire that we have for adventure, for new experience, and for growth through change. So, kind of get the feeling we're heaping on a whole bunch of change energy this week. So, the Leo full moon is already big energy. It illuminates the themes of self expression, how we share of ourselves, creativity, leadership, and personal power. Leo asks the question, are you shining your light? And are you living authentically? And I guess, are you shining your light authentically? Right? Um, but emotional stability is kind of hard to find right now when you have this level of volatility that's happening. It challenges us through unexpected events, or revelations that challenge your sense of security, or sudden emotional shifts, right? This is a doozy of a full moon that way. So we still have this theme with us about emotional breakthroughs and surprises. That does not change through the full moon. It doesn't end with the full moon. So the aspect could trigger these sudden aha moments or these sudden revelations, mood swings, feeling high and then feeling low, and all points in between, perhaps, and or the need to break free from some emotional pattern that you have been experiencing in your life. And there is this real tension between stability and change. Again, like this is like piled on. Is it any wonder we might feel a little prickly today? The Leo moon seeks recognition and self expression, while Taurus craves comfort and consistency. So we have this square to Uranus that disrupts the status quo, and it pushes for evolution. It pushes for us to um, evolve, not only in the regular sense of evolution, but with Neptune at the gate 25, this is also pushing for us to spiritually evolve, right? And to mentally evolve, to emotionally evolve. It's a big evolutionary kind of energy. And part of this could be sudden endings. It's a full moon, which can bring things into culmination. It can bring endings, and that's just a part of the experience. So there can be unexpected shifts in your relationships or in your creative projects or your personal identity. Depends on, where is Leo and Aquarius happening in your chart, right? What houses are they across? This is an awakening moment for us all, no matter where it is. The theme of that awakening will be related to the houses that you have this happening in, because the houses of the astrology chart tell us the where, right? The where is this happening? And there can also be rebellion against authority, or against the expectations that we've held ourselves to, or that we've felt that we've been held to. Leo energy is fire, and it's bold, it's confident and expressive. Um, but when it's squared by Uranus, then there's clashes with authority, clashes with power structures, and clashes with societal norms. And you see it happening every day, right? It's happening all around us. So this just brings it sort of to our conscious mind about what is happening. So again, right? Stay flexible. I don't know how many more times I can say that. Let go of what isn't working. If something needs to be let go of, let it go. Don't hold on to it. If you hold on to it, it becomes baggage, right? And baggage is leading to overwhelm for all of us, I think, at this time. Watch for your emotional reactivity. Try to be in response, right? Even if you have to breathe several times before you say or do something. Express yourself authentically, though. Leo asks you to own your truth, right? To own yourself, even if it's disruptive to old patterns. You have to be true to you. All right, now let's talk a little bit more about Jupiter moving into the gate 35. The 35 is actually up on the throat center and it leads down toward the solar plexus. Let me bring up the screen once more. There we go. So up here is the throat center, and the gate 35 sits up there at the upper right corner of that center. And then I just also wanted you to note that the north node is at the gate 36. And the gate 36 is a gate of crisis or tension, turbulence. It is energy that's wired for change, and it's meeting up with Jupiter now. So we have Jupiter and the north node sort of, creating this space of wanting new experiences, but also there is a dash of jadedness that goes along with this particular channel at times when it's defined as it is for everybody right now, right? This is going to be everybody's definition. And it brings the throat and the emotional center together in a very powerful way. And it means that we are maybe a little more emotional about things that are going on around us, and yet we are also exploring new territory. This can be the gate of exploration in quantum human design. And then 35 is the gate of experience. So we have exploration and we have experience, and it's coming to the throat center, which means that we're sharing our experiences. We're sharing our ideas. We're sharing the things that have occurred in our lives and helping others to see things in new ways. The jadedness comes from the I've been there, done that, don't want to go again kind of energy, which shuts down things, shuts down people, shuts down your own exploration and your own experience. So watch for that during this period of time. And Jupiter, being the planet of expansion and growth and abundance, moving into the gate 35, it can mean that we're on a collective shift towards adventure or learning through direct experience and embracing the unknown. There's that part, right? Embracing the unknown. We don't know where all of these different things are leading, but being open to it and being able to respond as necessary to the changes that are occurring. And the gate 35 is all about the growth that we experience when we do new things, when we take adventures, when we challenge ourselves to do something different. And when Jupiter is here, there's a desire then for all of us to try new things, whether it's through travel, through learning, or stepping outside of your comfort zone. You'll be wanting that experience and needing to embrace that new energy and embrace change as the teacher, right? Change is the teacher. Rather than resisting change, just embrace it. What is its purpose? What is it teaching you? Trust the journey, even when the outcome of the journey isn't clear, right? There's no clarity at this point in time. There's just this experience, essentially, is what this gate says. Now, the shadow here could be restlessness, it can be boredom, it can be impatient. And if you're not actively exploring new territory, you may feel very stuck or very dissatisfied in your life. So that if you're feeling those energies, it's a call for you to try something different. The gift in all of this is the expansion through life experience. It's a time to say yes to the adventure, embrace the uncertainty, trust in divine timing, right? If it's coming up in this particular time, there must be a reason. And here we can see now maybe how these two transits occurring on the same day could work together. And for one thing, the Leo full moon wants you to shine and express yourself and claim your power. Stop sharing for a second. And the moon Uranus square expands your hunger for those new experiences and is breaking you free from the patterns that have held you back from doing those things. And Jupiter in the gate 35, of course, expands that whole idea, that hunger for experience and for breakthroughs. So ideally, this is not a time to play small in your life, right? It's a moment to step into the unknown, to step up, as it were, to break through any emotional resistance that you're holding on to from the past. Embrace new possibilities, questions to ask yourself, like, where am I ready for a bold shift in my life? Or where am I ready to boldly express my creative self? My words, whether or my actions need to be brought out. And what emotional patterns are you holding on to? Emotions or patterns or emotional patterns that Uranus can shake up for you. What's coming to the surface? And ask yourself, are you resisting growth or change because of fear? Or are you willing to trust that it's just part of your journey and to go with that journey? So the full moon could bring these emotional surprises and breakthroughs, as does the energy from the whole of the week. It could bring shakeups that set you out on a new path. And the key is to lean into the change, to trust the process, and to allow yourself to evolve through the experiences that you may be having. And then, more than just to evolve through the experiences, to also share with others the experiences that you are having. So, tell me, guys, how are you feeling about all this wild energy that's going on? It's certainly striking, I think, if you really look at the outer world and what's happening in the outer world and what's happening within each of us in response to the things that are happening in the outer world. It is a little bit crazy, if, I might say that word. You're welcome, J-Lo. Christine, that's an understatement lately. Yes, the world seems to be going bonkers. Yep. And Julie agrees. Tina, so big, so much to learn. Yeah, it is. It is. I don't know what else to say to that because it feels like we're on. Have you ever been to Disneyland and Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, where it's just this wild ride? It almost feels psychedelic. If we didn't know that we hadn't taken drugs to experience this, we might be going, "What on earth is going on?" Because it is so tumultuous, I guess, is another good word. And yes, I'm gonna pull a card, Tina. I was just sitting here wondering, like, what card do I wanna pull? And I'm wondering if today maybe we need an oracle, a wisdom of the oracle card. This is like my go-to deck when everything is kinda crazy, so I think it's a good choice. And this is by Colette Baron Reed, called Wisdom of the Oracle. And these might need a new deck one of these days. The book is fraying. You could tell I've used this deck a lot. But it's also February, so I should be getting a whole new series of cards coming here shortly. So, oh, yes, that just happened. Um, two cards came out. One is Building Blocks, card number 28, which is a 10, which is a 1. Right? And the 1 energy of new beginnings, the 10 amps that up, the 28 amps that up even further. So new beginnings, building blocks. And then I also got To the Sea, another card, number 7. It was upside down because in this deck there is a reversed reading. So let's see what these two cards mean. 28. And it is the essential meaning of strong foundations, a beautiful work in progress. That's a good one. And the oracle's message says you have everything you need to cultivate an extraordinary life. This is a time when your focus needs to be on the foundations you build upon. Your work, your relationships, and your very being are underwritten by your values, ethics, morals, and core beliefs. Are they still true for you? Will they stand the test of time and serve as the solid grounding upon which you construct your life? Now you are making changes that will affect everything in a positive way. Your destiny is truly a remarkable and beautiful design. That makes sense, right? Let's look at number 7, which was go when it says to the sea, not go to the sea, but to the sea. And the general meaning of that card is being in flow. returning to source, recognizing how pieces fit together, a natural pattern of events. And it was upside down, so I'm going to read what is called her protection message. When external conditions appear to block every attempt to move forward, there is no hidden message for you to decipher. Like the ocean, the tides of experience ebb and flow. You are in a natural cycle, so know that things will flow again in due course. There is no cause for alarm. Stop resisting and fighting against the situation and learn to flow even when the tide is going out. Relax and trust in the abundance that will soon be within you again. As ancient mariners saying applies to you now. When fishermen cannot go to sea, they stay home and repair their nets. I like that one too. All right, there's our two cards, building blocks and to the sea, right? Going with the flow and creating the foundation for the evolution in your life. All right, guys, that is it for me today. Thank you so much for joining me. On Friday, I will be on air. It'll be Valentine's Day, and I will have Pia and Cullen with me on Friday, joining us a week early as they will be out of town that following week. So I'm excited for that. See you all then. Bye for now.